We're going to tell you the 5 blends that every single malt drinker needs to know. Blends get a bad rap. A lot of people think that blends are inferior to single malts. And I think that's really interesting because it's all about that perception. If you go back 20 or 30 years, it was the opposite. Everyone said that single malts weren't complex enough because blends had more character to them. It's all about marketing, and it's all about the way people think about what they're drinking. So blends, by no stretch of the imagination, should be thought of as being inferior to single malts. They're just different. Different doesn't mean better or worse, it just means different. Let's talk about 5 blends that are out of this world. The first blend you need to know about is Johnnie Walker Blue. Now, chances are you probably already know about Johnnie Walker Blue. Johnnie Walker is the best-selling blend in the world, and Johnnie Walker Blue is their premium end of the spectrum. It's a great whiskey that everyone does probably know about. But just because people know about it doesn't mean it's not good. In fact, the fact that so many people know about it might be telling you something. Because Johnnie Walker Blue is an excellent whiskey. They say that to make Johnnie Walker Blue, only 1 in 10,000 casks makes the cut. And they're looking at some of the best casks throughout Scotland. Johnnie Walker Blue, if you haven't had it already, is something worth getting on a special occasion. It is a great whiskey and it's a great blend. The next blend you need to know about is Compass Box Double Single. Now this is one that's not quite as well known as Johnnie Walker Blue. I mean, when I say that, I don't know if anything is quite as well known as Johnnie Walker Blue. So by default, everything is going to be slightly less well known. But that's not the point. The point is that you absolutely need to know about Compass Box Double Single. What's so cool about Double Single is that it is a blend that proves that less is more. It's simple, it's elegant. There are only 2 whiskeys that are in Double Single. Girvan, which is a grain whiskey, which makes up 28% of it, and Glen Elgin, which makes up 72% of the whiskey. Just those 2. All it takes, 2 whiskeys that are delicious. So you've got the grain whiskey from Girvan, and then you have a recharred ex-bourbon barrel from Glen Elgin. What it does is it makes a whiskey that is simple but well balanced. A lot of the flavors that you get in the Double Single are really interesting, and they're nothing like what you would get from a single malt whiskey, because they're able to create and manipulate those 2 whiskeys to create something that's really genuinely different. Number 3, Valentine 21. You've probably come across Valentine before. Valentine is, well, okay. They put out some whiskeys that are on the lower end of cost and therefore the lower end of quality. That doesn't mean that they're bad whiskeys, it just means that they're whiskeys that have been made to be enjoyed with cocktails, and that's fine. And that is not the case with the 21. The 21-year-old Valentine is definitely their premium blend, and it is very, very nice. When they say that it's 21 years old, that means that the youngest whiskey in Valentine 21 is at least 21 years old. It might have 1 drop of 21-year-old whiskey and the rest of it is 30-year-old whiskey. But if that's the case, they have to call it a 21-year-old. But that's probably not the case, because if it was, they wouldn't put the 21-year-old in, they'd only put the 30-year-old in, and then they would sell it for twice as much. So we can assume that most of the whiskey in this is around 21. There might be some older ones, but there's definitely nothing younger than 21. Most of the whiskey that's in Valentine 21 comes from Milton Duff or Glenbergie, which are both, well, not particularly well-known distilleries. They're distilleries that are putting out whiskeys for blends, but that doesn't mean that they're bad. In fact, this is a really cool whiskey that is packed with loads of sort of zingy, strong flavors. There's a lot of fruit in it. It's a really powerful whiskey. Number 4, Dewar's 25. Again, like the Valentines, you've probably come across Dewar's at the cheaper end of the spectrum. Cheap, cheerful, easy to put into a cocktail. And that's what most of your friends will think about when they're talking about Dewar's. But you've got to mention the 25-year-old. Because when they are rubbishing blended whiskey, Dewar's 25 will stop them. It is a blend that will totally knock their socks off. It's really well integrated. When they're making the Dewar's 25, they take all of the whiskeys from all the different distilleries together and they put them into a cask that used to have royal buckla. And as a result, it's really well balanced and takes lots of different flavors and brings them together. Number 5, Royal Salute 38-year-old Stone of Destiny. It doesn't come in a bottle. It comes in a flagon. I use that word very intentionally. This flagon, not a bottle, has a 24-karat gold crest. So yeah, if the bottle has 24-karat gold on it, you can bet it's pretty expensive. There you have it. 5 outstanding blended whiskeys that every single malt drinker needs to know about. Please, when people come to you and say blended whiskey is you need to answer back with these whiskeys, because it's not true. These are fantastic whiskeys, and people that are pretentious and say that we can only drink single malt are just products of the time. Because you go back 30 years and it was people saying the same thing about blends. Let's just enjoy whiskey because whiskey is fantastic and it's nice to drink. These whiskeys are all great examples of blends, and if you get a chance to try them, I absolutely recommend it. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and remember to subscribe to our channel. We post new videos every week.